As I showed you previously, this is the mind node example of what I need to do in order to get this database up and running. Because the franchise table is the primary sort of a table for this, I'm going to begin with this. This video is probably going to take quite some time. Unfortunately, there is quite a bit to do within phpMyAdmin to actually get this up and running. So please feel free to fast forward as much as you need. I will try and annotate things so you can get to the next step as needs be. So let's open up phpMyAdmin for the first time. Go to our actual database. There it is there. And we want to, at this point, create a table. The franchise table contains, let me just count you, I've got this all on a piece of paper in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 fields. And this is going to be called FJIA underscore franchise. And let's just get enough fields in here. 19 fields. Create the table. Okay, so we need to start off with pretty much an ID, franchise, then we're going to be an F for franchise, franchise name, next one. All of these I'm going to prefix with the letter F. I find that by doing this, it makes it a lot easier for myself, and I find that I spend less time doing aliases, etc. within my actual application. Every now and again I do still have a need to make an alias, but it's not that common. First name, franchise, last name, franchise email, franchise email 2, franchise email 3, franchise phone number or phone, franchise text reference, franchise address. Let's make this address 1 because there's going to be 5 of these. Keep in mind that much of this, the reasoning behind it is to follow exactly what Pastel needed me to actually do. It's not specifically because I just came up with these ideas myself. Franchise 5, franchise notes in case they need any. Oh, sorry, spelled that wrong. Okay, then I'm going to go for a franchise date added and a franchise date modified, and last a franchise status. Okay. Each of these columns needs something a little bit different. So as far as this goes, we're going to set into some columns, enum to other columns, text to some columns, etc., etc. It's going to, as I say, take a little bit of time. This is the primary table, so it's not going to really require any foreign keys on this, being the parent table. All foreign keys are going to be done on the child tables of the parent. And try and keep in mind also that it's easier to get this all perfectly correct now rather than going back into your database and trying to add things later on. Once Wappler has made its first connection to your database, it's going to pretty much pull all these database tables, etc., into almost like a internal storage engine that they use in order to reference everything. Every time you go back into your tables to make any major changes or minor changes for that matter, I would suggest that you go back to your connection step on any one of your actions and you just refresh everything. Just open it up, push test connection, push OK, let it go through your database and query everything back from the actual database. I think it's just the easier way to go at that point. Okay, so let me just carry on through this. So we are dealing with franchise. Okay, we are going to need an int of 10. The franchise name is going to be 50 characters. The title is going to be an enum style, so I'm just going to set this to enum. We've got a varchar here. Let's just go down and quickly set all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more varchars after the enum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The tax reference is going to be, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Another 7 varchars. Sorry, I thought it would actually change. 4, 5, 6. Until we get to notes, which is going to be a text. Then we've got a date time and a timestamp. Yeah, we're going to have a date time. Sorry, wrong one. Date time. This one is going to be a timestamp. And then we're going to finish off with another enum column. Enum. Okay. Let's get all our lengths in here very quickly. So we're starting off with our int at 10, our varchar at 50 characters. Our enum is going to be first one. So in single inverted commas, Mr. close inverted commas, comma, open inverted commas. What's our next value? Mrs. close, comma, open, and our last value is going to be miss. So in essence, no other values but these 3 values can possibly ever be entered into that area. Such as 16 characters on our title, on our first name, 50 on our last name. I'm going to make all the emails 100. 16 again for phone as per pastel. 50, 30 for address, 30 for that address. Again, these are pastel related numbers. 30 again. We'll keep it as a text column for this one for notes. The date time column, we're not going to set anything within there. The timestamp column, we're not going to set anything. This last enum over here, we are going to have enabled or disabled. Enabled, close, open, or disabled, close. Okay, as far as the attributes are concerned, this column here is going to be an auto incrementing column, which will then automatically set this to a primary key. I'll just go OK to that. The attributes to my auto incrementing column, I don't think it's really a requirement, but I'm going to put it on unsigned, which pretty much means it can only take positive integers versus negative or positive integers. So I would like to put that on an unsigned, and let's go through this. So next one, we are going to say that this can not be null. Sorry, we keep it off, so it is a not null column. So as long as this check mark is off here, that means that it can be a null value. That means it cannot be a null value. So I'm just going through here and checking my notes. So we've got yes, null value to email 2, because they don't need to fill an email 2. Yes to the null value on email 3. We've got a yes set to address 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, they need to fill out at least one of the address fields. otherwise Pastel is going to reject this. But but address 2, 3, 4, and 5 can certainly be left out. I'm going to set the default of the status over here to enabled. So I'm going to go as defined, enabled on that particular one, and I'm going to set this timestamp field here. I want this to update at all times with the current timestamp. So in essence, on update, current timestamp is what I want it to actually do. This way I can always go back to the customer and I can say this particular field was created on this date, which will come in from Wepler, and it was updated. Somebody went through and they physically did an update to that field on whatever data stored within here. So I think it's just easier from a security perspective to follow through exactly what things have happened. Just double checking all this. All seems fine to me. Varchars, text, date, time, enum. That all works correct. Okay. A very, very, very important step. I don't know if it's actually a requirement or not anymore, and I haven't researched it to be totally honest. However, when I'm working with foreign keys, I'll always change the storage engine to InnoDB. I'm actually, as I say, I'm not 100% certain if that is a total and utter requirement anymore. However, when I started doing this many years back, that was certainly a requirement if you wanted to use MySQL foreign key relationships. So I'm going to save that as my first table. There it is there. Moving on, I need to next create the store table. So we've got a franchise. Within the franchise, we are going to have a whole bunch of stores. So from here, new table, and this is going to be called FJRB this time. We've done table A, underscore store, and we need to figure out how many columns we're going to have. So let's just start this. There are a lot of fields within this one. ID store, moving on to ID franchise, FK. This is obviously going to be a foreign key for the ID that is stored in the first field of the franchise table. That's what that is going to be taking. Every other field hereafter is going to be prefixed with an S underscore to show that it's the store table, and we're going to start off with an account number, then S store name. Change this to InnoDB, and we're going to need to add quite a few columns here. Let's just start off by adding, say, another 20 columns to this. Okay, S underscore title, S underscore first name, S underscore last name, S underscore job title, S underscore email. The next ones are going to be email 2 through to 10, so I'm just going to copy that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we're going to have, just going through my list here very quickly, a moment. Okay, so after that we've got a phone landline, S underscore phone landline, S underscore phone mobile. Then we s underscore fax for those stores that do still have such a thing as a fax machine. S underscore, very important, the delivery address. And this is going to have 1 through to 5 on the delivery address. So I'm just going to copy that. 2, 3. We need more columns. Let's add another 10 for now. We'll probably still need more. 4 and 5. And then we're going to have s underscore postal address for mail. And again here we're going to need 5 addresses. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we're going to need terms. What the payment terms are. We are going to need an order number prefix. We're going to need a notes. Let me see how many more we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 more required here. 11, go. Okay, so next we're going to need s underscore credit limit, s underscore interest, s underscore tax type, s underscore tax reference, s underscore delivery method, s underscore freight, s underscore cash sale. Which, as I said in a previous video, is a bit of an odd one. But we have to follow exactly what Pastel wants. S underscore date added, s underscore date modified, and s underscore status as our last one. We know that this is going to be a column type of enum. We know that this is going to be a timestamp. We know that this is going to be a date time. I'll find it there. Okay. Let's see what our other columns are. So we're starting off with 2 ints and then 2 varchars. 2 ints, 2 varchars, an enum. Moving on to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. In fact, let me stop counting and find where the last one is. So all the way down to postal address 5, we have varchars. Let's go down here, postal address 5. Varchar. Sorry. Thought there was a quicker way to select that, but clearly not. Varchar. Varchar. There. So it takes a bit of time. It can be quite frustrating. You know, sometimes it's actually quicker to write out your create table statement to some degree with copying and pasting. Actually works out faster than sitting in the GUI and creating everything manually. But this is the quickest, easiest way to show the public how to do this. So let's just go through it. varchar, another one, almost at the end, last name, first name. Okay, so there's all those as varchars. This terms, we have set this as an enum. They have obviously set terms that they've told me that they give each client. Then we go a varchar and text for this one, which is generally always text. The credit limit is going to be a decimal. When using a decimal column, it is a little bit different because in here you've got to basically put in 9,2 if you want 9 characters to start and 2 decimal places. That would be the normal way to put that in. Then we've got 2 ints, which are already set that way. Text reference is a varchar. Our delivery method, freight and cash sale, and accepts email are all enums. So we have 4 enums. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are our 4 enums set. Okay, set our lengths in here. Let's check from our file. So our ID, we are going with 10. The foreign key for the ID is going to be 10. This varchar can only take 6 in the account number. This one can take 50. The title of enum is going to be Mr. Miss. Sorry, we actually went Mrs. and then we went Miss. This varchar can take 16, 50, 50, and all the emails we did 100. Lovely. Sorry, it gets a little bit slowed up and lagged here and there. I am actually on a remote connection to one of my other computers, so I didn't affect my normal everyday base Mac that I'm using. So I'm using a remote connection to actually get to this one, where I've just created a user specifically for the Wappler training videos. 16 on that. Fax is going to take 16. All the addresses are going to take 30. Way down to there. The terms are going to be 0, 7, 14, or 30. That's what this particular company allows. This varchar for this prefix is only going to allow 2 characters in it. Then we've got our text, which we don't need to supply anything. The interest is only going to allow 2 characters. I very much doubt they'll ever go over 99% interest. If they do, I don't think anyone will ever take an account with them. The text type can take 2 characters. Most of their text codes can only take, are generally only 1 character, so 2 should be more than sufficient, allowing them up to 99 on that. This text reference, just finding it on my sheet here, 50. This enum is going to either be collect or deliver. Next one is going to be courier, road, or air. Air freight. Next one is going to be yes or no. Next one is also going to be yes or no. The date, times, and that we don't need to set anything. The last one is going to be enabled or disabled, same as previous. We are going to then go and set our first one, auto increment, which will make this then the primary key. The attributes for this, we are going to say that it's unsigned again. And let's go through and set all our stuff up. For the franchise foreign key, we set the primary key to an unsigned amount, and so this can also be set to an unsigned amount. As far as this goes, we cannot set our foreign key over here. That is a relationship model that we need to go and set. However, we do need to obviously make sure that it's the same. If the primary key is going to allow a value of 10, then the foreign key also needs to allow a value of 10. If the primary key is an integer, the foreign key must be an integer. If the primary key is unsigned, I don't think it's imperative that the foreign key be unsigned, but there's no point in allowing negative characters in this particular case. And obviously you can't really have a null value. Not if you want it to work correctly anyway. Okay, so our account number, I'm just finding my first one that allows for a null value to be put in. So my first null value that I'm allowing is going to be delivery address 2345 and postal address 2345, and also email 2345. All of these are non-required fields, so quite often they may receive null within there. Delivery address 2345, postal address 2345. And I don't really see a need for any others here that should allow for a null value. I'm going to set the default for this one to enabled, so as defined, enabled. I'm going to set the timestamp once again to on update current timestamp and current timestamp. I don't actually think that that is 100% required, but I've always just done it that way. And I think I'm going to set these defaults over here to yes, because they would normally default to a yes. That would be the standard sort of answer to these. So as defined, yes. As defined, yes. Let's go through and just see my node sheet. Okay, everything else seems to be in order. That should all be fine. Attributes, we don't need any of the other ones. These are always set to nothing. These I'm only ever really setting primary keys within there. The defaults are generally as defined or a current timestamp. Everything's got values. My storage engine is set to InnoDB, and we can save that. Okay, I now have two tables in this particular database. I'm only going to put in 3 of the tables for now, because I do feel that once those 3 tables are in, we could pretty much set up our foreign keys and start the process of building at least the login pages, etc. We'll have enough for the franchises, the stores, and the users table where all the passwords, etc. are going to be stored. Later on then we'll go back in and we'll set up our products table, our pricing table as a secondary step, and then as a third step we'll set up our orders, invoices, proof of payment, the status of the actual order. We may also need to at this point set up our global settings, and then lastly we'll set up our tables for our CSV files. So let's go and create our last new table for now. So going to be called fjrc, and this will be for users. This is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 in total, minus the 4 that are already here. So let's add 14 more to this. Okay, there's our 14 added. Let me quickly go and call up the right thing here. Okay. So what we're going to need here is we're going to need ID underscore users, ID underscore franchise underscore FK. So this will be a foreign key back to the same first franchise table that we ever created. ID store, foreign key also, that'll be back to the actual store that we've just did in the last step. Then every single one of these is going to start with a U underscore for users table, and we'll start off with the company name, which as I said earlier is not a total requirement. The title, U first name, U last name, U job title, email, we're only allowing one email address in this particular case, U phone number, or phone landline should I rather say, not that many people seem to have landlines here anymore, U phone mobile, U notes, U username, U password, U role, U date added, U date, sorry, so U date modified, and lastly, as usual, U status. Okay, we know that the status is always an enum column. We know that this is going to be int, int, and int. This here will be a varchar. The title is going to be an enum. The first name is going to be a varchar. Varchar job title is a varchar. The email is a varchar. Landline, phone, notes is going to be text. These are also going to be varchars. The role is going to be an enum. There are very set roles. The date added is going to be a date time, and the date modified is going to be a timestamp. As soon as I find it, there, timestamp. Timestamp we know is going to be current timestamp. We know that it's going to be on update the current timestamp. We know this is our auto incrementing column up here, which is our primary key. We know that this is going to be enabled or disabled, and we know that we would like to normally set this to an as defined default of enabled. And let's carry on through here. So let's see, this is going to be a length of 10, that's also 10, that is also 10. Every one of those is going to be unsigned to match their parent tables to the child tables. The lengths match. Once again, this is going to be a 50. This enum is going to be Mr., Mrs., or Ms. That should be fine. The first name is going to be 16 characters in length. Last name can be 50. The job title can be 50. The email is going to be 100. landline can only be 16, mobile can only be 16, the text doesn't need a length, 300 for my username, 300 for my password. I think that should account for everybody. We're going to have roles of admin, then we're going to have a franchise admin, which in this case I think I'm just going to call it fran admin. Let's call it, actually, let's just call it f admin. It's fine, what we need. And then our last one is going to be a branch user, so let's just call this branch. Okay, so branch is going to be an everyday normal user that most of the time will be logging in. F admin will be a franchise admin that can add all the different stores under their franchise. They can add all the users under each and every store that they add. And admin is going to be meant for my client who's paying me to do this particular job, and obviously will allow them anything that they want. Okay, let's just make sure we've got everything here. The null values I'm not too concerned about for this. The defaults are set MyEnabled. I think I'm going to set a default for this role over here, and I'll probably set this as branch as sort of the default user. That's going to be 99% of the time it's going to be that person. And everything here seems fine. Make sure that my storage engine is set to InnoDB, not archive. Let's save. Invalid default for use status. Okay, sorry, enabled. Otherwise it won't pick that up. Save. Okay, we now have our 3 tables. It's now time to go and set up our foreign keys. So pretty much what we're going to need to do here is we are going to need to go to not the parent child, which is the franchise. We're first going to go to the first of the child tables, the store table. We're going to go to structure, and we're going to go to sorry, just finding it here. So it's this relation view over here. And pretty much what we want to do, we can set a constraint name if we want to. If we don't want to, we honestly don't, and phpMyAdmin will actually set it itself, to be very honest with you. However, I do normally like to set my own constraint names just because they make sense to me. So for this particular constraint name, I'm going to say fk to start it off with, put an underscore, and this will be back to my franchise as the parent table. This name really doesn't matter. You can call this whatever you like. This is for me personally to know what I'm doing. I would like to cascade on delete. So if I had to delete something from my franchise table, I wanted to delete it from my users table, from my store table, from any other table that is set. If I update something on my franchise table, I'd like the same thing to happen. I'd like that to actually cascade through as we go. So the next point is that we are going to say what column are we actually choosing on the store table itself. So what are we actually dealing with here? We're on the store table. The column that we're dealing with is the ID franchise FK. The foreign key constraint for another InnoDB table is going to this particular database. The table within that database that we're going to be having an effect on is going to be the franchise table, and within the franchise table it is ID franchise. So pretty much foreign key franchise is going to cascade deletions, cascade updates on the column ID franchise foreign key, which is from the store table to the database there, to the table over here, which is the parent table, to the column within the parent table. And we can save that change. What you'll notice here now is underneath our store table, underneath indexes, you will see a new foreign key, FK franchise, created over here. What we need to do now is go and add the same foreign key, primary key relationship to our users table. So, and the users table, if you recall, is actually going to take two different parameters within here. So, like in this particular table for store, we've only used one over here. The next one is actually going to have two done. So we go to our users table, to the structure, to the relational view, and we're going to add a second constraint to this. But let's start off here, and the first constraint we're going to call FK for foreign key, and this will go to the store table. On delete we want it to cascade. On update we want it to cascade. The column that we wanted to use in this particular case is the store foreign key to our primary database, and in this particular case we're going to the store table, to the ID store. The second one we are going to call this FK underscore users, and this is going to be cascade and cascade, and this is going to go to the let's see here, franchise. This is going to go to the franchise table, and it'll go to ID franchise. Okay, that all makes sense, and we shall save that. And once again, if you go under the users table, under the indexes, you will see now two different foreign keys set over there. Okay, I will move on to the actual WAPLA set at this point to start showing you how to create the login page and some of what we can actually create now that we at least have something within our actual database, and we'll take it from there. I'll see you in the next video.